I don't think having a multicultural background has presented any challenges to me. As a sound engineer, you should be able to know how different types of music sound like. So for me, listening to salsa and merengue and all the South American type of music, um, like knowing all those different sort of rhythms and Afro-Cuban rhythms coming from Africa and stuff like that definitely um, makes me more knowledgeable.
I think the thing that I always think about most in terms of culture is the formalism, the structures that exist between cultures, between people in a culture. I think that American culture and Ecuadorian culture have a lot of similarities in how those roles are important to the society, but I also think they're very different, and so that's worth, kind of exploring in art to a degree when it comes to the dynamics between different social groups, if I so choose to write about it. I'm not sure. It definitely forces you to listen to more types of music. I think it has definitely brought new music into my life, but I know lots of people from an assortment of backgrounds, and it doesn't necessarily influence one way or another. Because some people just stay in one particular genre with whatever particular ethnicity they identify with.
Absolutely.
Um, it helps in appreciating them, and that drives you to learn them, but not necessarily. I mean, I know plenty of people who don't have what Americans would call a multicultural background. It's kind of homogenous sort of textures, whether that's white or, one particular external background. But, I mean, it's definitely influenced the way I listen to music.
Makes sense.
So as such, it was really a challenge on one way. On the other hand, it was clear that this is the job for me to do because of my multilinguality and because of my closeness generation wise and also cultural wise and language wise. So I felt I could look at things, I could look at source material in German, I could look at source material in Bulgarian, in Hebrew, in English, in other languages, and be able to appreciate the nuances of the language.
So I think that it may mean similar things to different people, but there's not necessarily an all-encompassing element. But that's part of what makes music interesting, is that you can take a feeling and manipulate it into so many different directions. I listened to the Gypsy Kings growing up alongside Eric Clapton, alongside Ace of Base, alongside Backstreet Boys, alongside Pavarotti. I mean, I listened to all types of music growing up, and it never really went away. I just kind of concentrated on more specific genres as I've grown older.
I would say like as a sound engineer, you have to know what the different sounds of the different parts of the world are. So like I would say to be a good sound engineer, you have to listen to a lot of different types of music and how they're supposed to sound in order to, so you can have that in the back of your mind when you're recording them and mix it to sound like how it's supposed to sound. Well, yeah, music is a form of language, just like how to express yourself artistically, and like music is a big part of everyone's lives, like throughout every single day. So you don't have like people from Asia can listen to South American music and still like know what that person was feeling at the time when they were writing it and everything. You don't have to understand like lyrically, but you can like feel the emotions that the artist was trying to portray like through the music.
I think there's dialects to this common language if it exists. Because I know people use certain types of chords to display sadness.
So when you hear the translations or the dubs in English, it's completely different than hearing the perversions in its origin in the language. So that was kind of what I thought I brought to the project, my ability to look at all the different sources. project that you do. If you come too prepared, you're not open to seeing what's really out there, and you really need to be open for that. And that's very important to understand that nothing is sure, it's all a path. You need to make careful steps. Failure is there for you.
I don't see how you can really innovate something new if you're not taking in new ideas. So there comes a point at which whether if it's a different culture or just a variation on what you're currently listening to, or another genre within your culture, it does different things, to how you actually write music.
For me, it was important to tell a story of tolerance, of acceptance. It is also not totally disconnected from my entire other work. And I always cared about ethics and moral. The purpose was universal, to show the power of individuals to resist genocide and to stand up, and that everyone can be a hero. A sophisticated person, a church leader, a teacher, a baker, you're a person on the street. Everyone can do something meaningful